This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So you just type in AWS free tier and you'll land up in this page. So you'll get a search result, and the first one you can select that. So here you can click on this create a free account or create an AWS account. Either one of them you can select. And here, let's say if I select this one, create an AWS account. So here it'll ask us for the root user email address. So this root user email address here is your like any personal email that you have, right? You can provide that email address here. Okay. So let's say like any Gmail, Hotmail, any kind of email would work, and then you can provide an alternate account name as well. So once you provide these two details, right, you have to verify your email address. So in the verification process, I think you get a code to your email address. So you need to provide that code and then verify your email address. Okay. So this would be your step one, and then I think there are four steps or three steps altogether. Okay. So you would be done with the step one of three or one of four. What it would tell you, like step one of two, something like that. So once that is done, the next step would be so it'll ask you for your personal details and your credit card number. Okay. The personal details would include your address, phone number, and your credit card details. So there, it will even ask you for you to do a test transaction of $1 or so. So generally, it'll ask you to do a test transaction of $1 just to see that whether the transaction would be successful through the card, and that dollar transaction would be reversed. Okay, so that is something that would be done. So after that step, you will land up in a final page where it would ask you for three types of accounts. One is basic free, the other one is like $29 per month developer account, something would be there, and then another would be business account, which would be like $100 per month. So just select the first one, basic free, and then create your AWS account. So these are the steps involved. These are pretty simple. Like you can just give it a try. If you're facing an issue, let me know. I'll help you out in setting up the AWS account. Okay, so that's the thing. And there is something called as AWS free tier. So AWS has provided some services for free for a duration of 12 months. Okay, so there are two categories here: 12 months free and always free. Okay. So it says it will provide the given service for 750 hours per month. So in a month you have 750 hours. So it means that it will provide you some services for free for like 1 month. Okay. Per month it is 750 hours. So overall, like the complete month it will be free. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So there are some services which are 12 months free, and there are some services which are always free, but everything comes with a limitation. Okay, it's not that you can fully utilize the power of a given service. Okay, it's not like that. You have to check the box here first. Okay, which would return the results for 12 months free, and these are the services which are 12 months free. Okay, you can navigate through the pages. So all these services are 12 months free here. Yeah, Jude, tell me. Jude, are you there? Hello.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible now. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question. So when I go to the to sign in, am I using root user or IAM? Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
Sorry, root user?
I'm saying when I go to sign in or go to create a new
Uh-huh.
account.
Okay. Okay, so your account is already ready, or is it that
No,
like
I want to sign up for a new one. I think I started and I stopped. It's asking me to complete a registration. So when I go to complete sign up, it's asking me to sign in as a root user or IAM user.
I'll go with a root user?
Root user.
Yes.
Uh,
So your email address is your root user.
okay. Do you have a PDF or that shows instruction how to go through this, or are you just gonna go through it with us?
I don't have any PDF as such, but it's pretty straightforward. So if you are having any difficulty, let me know. Like I'll clarify it right away.
Okay. Hang on a second.
Okay, so we'll do one thing by the end of the session, right? I'll like we can talk about this, and I'll get your doubt clarified. Okay, like where if you're stuck
Okay.
somewhere, we'll. Okay, all right. Let's proceed. So here, these are the services which are 12 months free. Okay, so you can see it says 12 months free. So that's these are the services. And but every service comes with a limitation. So here you can see Amazon Transcribe, 60 minutes free. Amazon Translate, 12 million characters per month. So in that way, you have every or like pretty much every service has some limitation in terms of how you can use it. Okay. So that's the use case of this 12 months free. And there are some services which are always free. So here you can see Amazon DynamoDB 25 GB of storage, Amazon AWS Lambda 1 million, Amazon SNS 1 million publishers. So all these are always free. Okay. So, but again, there are limitations everywhere. So you should be careful about these limitations. So AWS will nowhere block you from creating anything, but it will just show a pop-up banner saying that, okay, this service is free, or this service falls under the free tier. Okay. But you have the leverage of creating anything in your AWS account. Okay. So pretty much, AWS will not block you in any ways. And if you exceed the free tier limit, okay, or anything which is beyond the like always free, so you can see every service has some limitations, right? If you cross that limitation, then AWS will charge start billing you. Okay. So whether it is always free or 12 months free, irrespective of that, AWS will not block you from creating anything, and then it will charge you only when you're like exceeding that free tier limit. Okay, or the always free limit. So that's the process that we have here. Okay. So guys, try to sign up with AWS account. If you are having any issues, let me know. Like during the session now, you can sign up as well, and just try it out. It's 2 months work. So if you are having issues, then by the end of the session, we'll work on that. Okay. So this is the process of creating the AWS account. One second, let me sign into my AWS account here. Just a second. So I've signed into my AWS account here, and let's see like uh, how we can create an EC2 instance. So this is the service EC2 instance. Okay, EC2 service here. So click on that EC2 service there. So I'll just explain you at a high level like how AWS would be. So in AWS for a given a region. So you have something called as regions here. Okay, so if I click on this one, right, you see various regions like North Virginia, Ohio, Northern California, Oregon. So all these are various regions that are available here. Okay, so you can create your resource anywhere in any of these regions. That's your choice. Okay. So I'm picking up North Virginia, but depending on your requirement, you can pick a resource and then create the resource accordingly in a given region. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have for the region. And EC2 is a service. Okay, and there are various resources that are available in a given service like EC2. So basically, these services are top level, and inside that service, you get to create the resources. So that's how it would work.
I have a quick question. How do I get here, please?
Okay, you can do a search. So this is your home page. Okay, so this is your home
Yeah,
page.
I'm there.
Yeah, just search for EC2. So the first search result is the service. Okay, or you can go to the services section here and under compute. Okay, look for compute, and in that you get EC2. So these are two ways in which you can get to the EC2 service. So once you're in the EC2
Okay, I'm here.
service,
Okay.
okay, now click on launch instance. It says launch instance and launch instance from template. So you just have to launch instance here. And here you need to provide the server details. So you can name your instance. So instance, node, server, all of them mean the same. Okay. It means that like it's a server that you're building up. So here you can see Amazon EC2 allows you to create virtual machines or instances that run on AWS cloud. Quickly get started by following the simple steps below. Okay. So so this pretty much is a description of this service here.
I'm sorry. What did you want us to call it, please?
Or you can give any name here.
Okay. All right.
So it's not mandatory to provide a specific name, and the name is your choice. Okay. I'm giving the name as test server, and so this part is important. So here it says application or OS images. So this is termed as AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. So here you need to select the operating system which you would be using for your server. Okay, so I'm picking up Amazon Linux. It's up to you. Like you can pick something else as well. So you have various other operating system too, like Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, SUSE Enterprise Linux. Okay, Debian system. So you do have options for others. Okay. So I'm picking up this Amazon Linux here, and then after that, so this Amazon Linux, right? The AMI, it's nothing but a disk. Okay, it's a disk which is having a copy of the operating system in it. Okay, so from this snapshot, which is having a copy of the operating system, we'll be creating a EBS volume. Okay, EBS stands for Elastic Block Store. So we'll be creating an EBS volume, and that EBS volume will be attached to the EC2 instance. Okay, so that's the description about like this AMI. So basically, it's a disk that's having a copy of the operating system. Okay, and from the disk, we'll be creating a volume. Volume is nothing but again, it's a disk. So when I say disk here, right, it's basically a snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but a backup of a given disk with some data. So that's the AMI part. And then there are various instance types. So if for EC2, right, you can use only T2 micro or T3 micro. So these are the two instance type which fall under the free tier category. But if you select anything else, you have to pay for the usage. Okay. So here you can see T2 small, T2 medium. For everything, there's a pricing involved here. So let's say like if you pick T3 medium, 2 virtual CPUs and 4 GB RAM. If you pick T3 large, 2 virtual CPUs and 8 GB RAM. So in that way, you will be built for every specific resource if you're picking up anything. So this is the instance type that I'm going to pick, okay, which is your T2 macro. And then there's something called as a key pair. So actually, like this topic, I should be discussing in the Linux sessions, but I'll just tell you at a very high level. So here you can create a new key pair. Okay. So generally, in Linux systems, so this is valid only for the Linux systems. It's not valid for Windows machines. So for Linux systems, you log into the servers via SSH. Okay. SSH stands for Secure Shell. So SSH is a protocol using which you connect to the server, and SSH runs at port 22. Okay. So for logging into the server, you need a username and password. Correct. So either you can use a username and password, or the other method is to use a username and a private key. Okay. So what is a private key? I'll tell you when we get into the Linux sessions. But for now, just remember that we need a private key to log into the EC2 instance. That's one of the methods. So, but by default, AWS has designed its setup in such a way that the default method of logging in initially is your username and private key. Okay. So here, this is the section where you can create your private key. So here you can say create key pair. You can give a name to the key pair. Just tell like there are two key pair types, RSA and ED25519. So these are the two types. So you can pick any key pair type. And for our Windows machines, where we'll be using the clients like Putty or MobileStorm or the Super Putty, any client, SSH client that you'll be using. Here you'll be using the .ppk file. Okay. So select .ppk and say create key pair. It will download the key pair to your system. Okay. So that's something that you
Uh,
can do.
I'm sorry, which one did you say we should use? I'm using
Which
Windows.
one?
You said
You're
for
using Windows?
Windows, yes.
Oh, so you did not create any Linux system?
No.
Okay, because the sessions we'll be doing, right, everything would be on Linux. So that's the reason I insisted on creating the Linux machines.
So we have Linux, so we could. It's easier on a Mac. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you're using a MacBook for like you're using a MacBook right now?
Yeah, I'm using a MacBook right now, but I was trying to um, sign up for the AWS. I'm following you, but on my tablet, but my tablet is a Windows tablet.
Okay, okay, your tab is a Windows tab. No, actually, irrespective of whatever you're using, so you have to provision a Linux machine on this AWS because the sessions that I'll be doing, like everything would be on Linux. So my suggestion would be go with the Linux machines.
So how do I do that?
So just cancel it out and then go back to the section where it says AMI and select the Amazon Linux.
Yeah, that's what I selected. I selected the Amazon Linux AWS.
Okay, then it's fine, no problem.
So for the key
Okay.
pair, when I go to create new key pair, do you say we should use
Yeah.
RSA?
Yeah, you should use the key pair type as RSA, and the format should be private key file format. So if you're using the this one Mac to connect, right? Then or let's say your operating system that's there on your desktop or laptop is Mac, then use .pem. Okay. But
So,
if it's Windows machine, then use .ppk. Okay, that's the difference there.
you said dot ppk.
Yeah, the second option here.
Oh, sorry, my screen was a little bit down. Okay, sorry, I expanded the screen. I missed that. Okay, I see it now. Dot ppk. Sorry.
Yeah, if it's Windows, use .ppk. If it's Mac, then go for .NET. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I
So
made this
to
past my screen. I didn't see that.
yeah, no, that's fine. No problem.
So,
So you need
so
to
do I?
specify a key pair name and then say create key pair. It will create the key pair for you.
So
Okay.
just give it any name.
Yeah, I can give any name. No problem with that.
Sorry about that.
And you can leave these settings by default. Okay, no need to change anything here. And even this allow SSH traffic, just leave it as it is. It will create a new the purpose of the security group here is that you should allow some ports onto the EC2 instance depending on the applications that you're running. Okay, by default no one can access your server, because the inbound port, right, everything would be blocked. So to allow yourself or myself, if I want to connect to the EC2 instance, right, then I should allow the port number 22. Okay, so that's the reason it says allow SSH traffic from anywhere 0000/0, and then so this is the security group name, and this will add this a new entry here. Okay, and then it will allow that given port 22 onto the EC2 instance. So when you check this box, what happens is the port 22 will be allowed onto the EC2 instance. Okay, and then this is the storage part. So if you want more storage, you can change this number from 8 to anything else of your choice, and then like so much storage should be attached to this. So depending on the parameter that you give here. Okay, let's say if you are saying I need 30 GB of storage, then 30 GB storage will be attached to your server. Okay. So these are the options that you have. So you need to select all of this and then finally say launch instance. It will create the EC2 instance for you. Okay. So I'll launch it anyways. So if I click on launch, okay, I need to select the key pair. So I already have a key pair with me. So I'll select, I'm using that. So launch instance, and this is the EC2 instance that would be provisioned. So this is the instance that is created. So if you go to the instances section here, you can see that this is the test server which has been created right now. Okay. So it will take some time to provision. So we just have to wait for a few minutes. So this is your server that has been provisioned, and this is the public IP address. So I'll be copying this public IP address here. And so as I said, like you should need any client like PuTTY or mobile extern. So I do have a client with me. So let me show you the client here. So client is nothing but it's a software that you are using which you're connecting to the EC2 instance. Okay, that's all that we have. So here this is the mobile exterm tool. So it's a free tool. Okay, you can just type in mobile exterm in Google, it will take you to the site. So there you get a free version of it. You can download that and install on your machine. So here you click on sessions and then select SSH here. And here you need to paste the public IP address. Okay, and it says advanced SSH settings. To use the private key, go to the advanced SSH settings here, and it says use private key. Check that box, and then here you get this search bar. Okay, click on the search bar here, and then so this is the PPK file that you have.
Hey, I got a question. Did you want us to follow this, or are you going to send us an instruction to do it as well?
So once this recording is sent to you, right, you can follow along with the recording. There shouldn't be any problem as far as I see.
Do you have any PDFs or any notes for instructions?
No, not for this one. So these are simple stuff. So just try it out. If you're not able to get it, I'll explain it to you. So I'll like guide you in setting this up. Okay.
Yeah. So my question is, do you want us to do it as you're doing it, following, or do it later?
You can try it now. If you're not getting it, like I'll send the recording to you guys. You can try it then. If you are having questions, I can clarify it in the sessions.
Okay.
So here you select the private key and you do an OK here. And now here you get to select the username with which you are logging in. So by default for Amazon Linux, so if your AMI types is Amazon Linux or CentOS, sorry, not CentOS, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, for these two AMI types, the username is EC2-user. Okay. But let's say if you're using a CentOS operating system, then the username would be CentOS. So, or let's say if you're using Ubuntu operating system, then your username would be Ubuntu. Or let's say if you're using the Windows machines, then your username would be administrator. Okay. So these username vary from one operating system type to the other operating system type. Okay. So
I'm
currently
sorry, quick
I'm the
question.
user. Uh-huh.
So the mobile X term, it took me to like Home Edition. It's asking me download Home Edition current version. It has a Home Edition version 22.3 or this is portable edition or install edition. It has two. Which one do I use?
Go with
Which
the
one do I
install
download?
edition. Install edition.
Ins- install edition. Okay.
So here I will logging in as EC2 user. So when I hit the EC2 user as a login here, it will directly log in. So the reason it's not prompting you for password because the private key that you have supplied during connecting to the session, right? That access your password here. Okay. And now you're into the server. All right. So any questions here? Anyone? Rishi, Shri, Krishna, anything? So did you guys follow the process of creating the EC2 instance?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, just try it out by yourself. Set up an AWS account. If you are having any issues, then let me know. Like if you want me to take a separate session and to help you out, I can take a separate session as well. And then you can set up a VM for your practice. Okay. Now after this, we need to first create a user. So like now it's just a regular machine. Okay, so you can practice as you've been doing in the like in a regular manner, whatever you do. Okay. So there's a new system, so I have to create the user again. So I'll just do it really quick. So sudo user add. So this user has been created. So in the last session, we saw how to create a user and then how to reset the password for the user, and we spoke about the home location for a given user. Okay, so these are the few topics that we have touched based on in the last session. So now going further, we'll see like how we can modify a user's group. Okay, so by default, as I said, when you create a user without adding it to a specific group, then what it does is it will create a group with the name similar to the user. Okay. So let's say if you wish to create a group in this Linux machine, then the command is sudo group add. Okay, group add is the command. Group add dev users. This is the group name. So this will create the group with the name dev users. And then if you want to modify the permissions, right? Sorry, modify the group for a given user, then the command is sudo user mod Okay, modifying the user. So it's basically user mod, then -g dev users, and then you say u1. So now it will modify the users group from I would say like u1 to dev users. So if you want to switch from one user to the other user, right? The command is su hyphen u1. So SU stands for switch user. Now hyphen, the space between hyphen and U1 is mandatory. If you don't provide a space, it will not allow you to switch. Okay, it will throw an error. So when I do an SU hyphen U1, it will end. So we just need to press enter there, and now it will prompt us for password. Now I have to provide the password that I've given for the user one or U1 there. And here we are logged in as U1 again. So earlier, the user with which I was logged in as EC2 user, now I switch to the U1 user here. Okay. So if I run the command ID, it will return the UID and GID associated with the user here. Okay. So these are the two things that you can see here. So now after like when you type in the ID, right? So in the last session, I just check. So when the user was or when this user U1 was a part of the group U1, right? So at that time the UID was 1001 and GID was also 1001. But now since we created a new group, the group ID has been incremented by a count of 1 and it's 1002. Okay, so now U1 is a part of the group dev users. Okay, now to come out of it, you just type in exit. Now this will exit out of the user U1, and then you'll go back to EC2 user. Okay. So, so that's the process that we have for um, create the process of creating a user, resetting the password, and then modifying the group. Okay, so these are the steps involved. Now, yesterday I spoke about setting up a sudo user, right? So, like as I said, a root is a super user for a Linux machine, okay? Or I would say the admin account for a Linux machine. But not every, so let's say if some task has to be delegated to a given user related to root, then you can add that user to the sudo's group instead of providing the password to anyone who's requesting to perform some root related task. So instead of doing that, we can add that user to the sudo's group, and then that user will be able to perform some task related to the root. Okay. So here to add a user to the sudo's group, you need to run this command sudo vi sudo. So vi actually vi sudo is the command. Sudo you are adding it because you are performing the root related task, right? So that's the reason I'm putting a sudo in front of vi sudo. Otherwise, if you are logged in as root, then simply you do a vi sudo. It'll allow you to open the file and then edit that file. So now I'll do an enter. So I'll press enter. So this is a vi editor that you have here. So this is a VI editor that you have here. So you can like scroll up and down, okay, through this page. So we'll talk about the VI editor in the upcoming sessions. Just for now, I'll show you how to edit this. But this is a file, this is a text file, and we are editing it through the VI editor. Okay. So you scroll all the way down here, and then there's a section where you land up. So here it is allow root to run any commands anywhere. Okay. So here in this place, just right below root, you need to add one entry. So to add any text into this file, you press I on your keyboard and it will turn to insert mode. So at the bottom, you can see it says insert. So now you need to add the username U1. And then after that, there is this entry that you need to add here. So all equal to all, no pass WD colon all. So what I'm saying for this U1 user is allow the user U1 to perform all the tasks which are related to root. Okay, that's what I'm providing at the moment. So here, this purpose of no pass WD is something different. So if you just give all here, right, what happens is every time you are running any sudo command, right, it will prompt you for password and then it will run that command. But if you don't want to be prompted for password, then you just give no pass WD colon all. It will not prompt you for password every time when you run a sudo command. Okay. So this is the entry, and then I'll save this file. So that's all we need to do. Now, if I go to the user U1, it's asking me for password. So let me provide the password here. Now, if I do a user add U2, let's say that's the user that I'm creating, it says permission denied. Obviously, it will tell you the permission denied because U1 is having the sudo permissions, but you need to put a sudo in front of the command. So if I do a sudo user add U2, you can see the user has been created. So the reason why the user has been created is because U1 is a part of the sudo's group. So U1 can perform any root related task. Okay. So that's the purpose of it. Right. So this is the way you can add a user to the sudo's group. Okay. So this is pretty important because like in general, sometimes some users, let's say like if it's an application admin, they would need some permissions related to root for certain installations. So in that case, they provide the user. So let's say like there will be various accounts that you would have when you get into an enterprise setup. So there they'll be providing sudo access to your own account so that you can perform the root related task. Okay. So that's the way the implementation is done. All right. So now let's proceed further with this. So this is about the user management in Linux. Okay. So now the next thing that we'll look into is how do we create files and directories in Linux. Okay. So to change the directory, the command is cd and /root, and you're into the root directory. So if you do a pwd, so this is your root directory. And if you do a dff-h, I'll tell you like the file systems that are available on your Linux machine. So you can see you just have the root file system. There are no other file systems available on your Linux machine. Okay. So this is having a space of 8 GB, out of which 1.6 is used and 6.5 GB is available. So this is the command. So dff-h returns your disk utilization on the given Linux system. Okay. Now, here in this root file system, we'll be creating a directory. So the command to create it is sudo mkdir testdir. So now, so if I do a lsf and ldr, right? So since this, basically the root file system is generally owned by the user root. Okay. So now I have like created a directory because I need to put a sudo in front of this command, the mkdir command. Otherwise, it will not allow me to create a directory because I'm logged in as EC2 user, and EC2 user don't have permissions on the root file system. Okay, so that's the reason. If I put a sudo, it will allow me to create a directory. Now, after that, to change the ownership of this given directory, right? The command is chown sudo chown u1 dev users, and then we are doing a test here. So chown stands for change ownership. And again, this command changing the ownership is also a root related command. So that's the reason I'm putting a sudo in front of the command. And we are saying sudo chown u1 dev users and the directory name. Okay. So when I run this, now the directory is owned by u1 user here. All right. So that's how it would work. Now I'll do a sudo su have a new one. Now here it will not prompt us for password because generally a root can switch to any user. Okay. So in that case, if I do a sudo su hyphen new one, it'll log in without being prompted for any password here. Okay. So now I'll be able to create files in this directory testdir because the owner of this directory is this user here, u1. Okay, and I'm logged in as user u1 itself. So I'll be able to perform changes on this testdir directory. All right. So in general, like in Linux, right, there are three kinds of files, okay, or three kinds of objects you can say in general. So first is a directory, then you have a soft link, then you have a hard link is also there. So hard link is similar to a file, so there's no separate categorization for hard link, and then you just have a file, a regular file. So here, whenever you see a D in the start, right? If the first character is D, as I'm highlighting here, then it means it's a directory. Okay. And if the first character is an L there, it means it's a soft link. So what is a soft link? I'll explain. Okay. And then if the first character is a dash, okay, so it's just a simple hyphen that you have. So if your first character is dash, then it means that it's a file. So that's how you identify a file or a directory or a software. Now to create a file, right? The command is touch. So I'm creating three files, f1.txt, f2.txt, f3.txt. Okay. So touch command is used to create an empty file here. Okay. So you can see that empty files have been created here. All right. So now to edit the data in a given file or to push the data in a given file, there are various methods. Okay. So I'm going to talk about few ways, but going further, we'll be talking about some text editing tools as well, like VEditor. So there, I'll explain more about various options that are available in VEditor. So any questions here so far from anyone? Anything?
Yeah, I don't know if I asked this question earlier. I wanted to find out if we can get a copy of these commands and what they do, because, you know, considering that we are freshers, you telling us it's kind of hard to write everything down to know the functionality of each. So is there anything we can reference or we
Okay,
can read?
you can share your email with me now. Okay, I'll send it out. All right. So just put your
Oh,
email in the chat. You will get the comments.
okay.
So here, so I've created these files, and all of these are 0 byte files. Okay, here you can see this column. It says 000 here. So all of these are 0 byte files that are created. Okay, and since this is a file, you can see a dash in front of it. Okay, you can see there's a dash here. One second, let me highlight it. So you can see the first character is a dash. So it means that it's a file. Okay. Yeah, guys, I'll send it to everyone. Shri, you can send out your email as well. So now if I want to edit the data or add any data to a file, right? As I said, there are various methods. So we'll explore a few of them today. And in the subsequent sessions, we'll talk about the other methods. So basic command echo. So we did see this command yesterday as well. So if you do a echo hello world, so it will print whatever is given in between the strings or in this between this double quotes, whatever you give, right? or print the same thing, or even the double quotes are not required. If you do just a echo, you can see it's just returning hello world here. Okay. So echo is nothing but similar to a printf statement that you come across in general. All right. So that's the purpose of the echo statement here. So now here we'll see how we can use echo to push the data to a file. So here I'm saying like echo test data to f1.txt. So the single greater than symbol is a redirection operator. Okay. So what this does is the output of this command, which is test data, will be redirected to this file f1.txt. So now if you want to append something to the given file, so let's say if you want to append test data to this file. So in that case, you need to use double greater than symbol. Then it will append the data to the f1.txt. Now let's say if you now view the data to this file here, f1.txt, you can see that you would find two lines, test data and then test data 2. Okay. But single greater than symbol is used to basically override the data. Okay. So, or just to add fresh data to a file, then only the single greater than symbol would come into picture. But if you're, let's say like, if you now reuse the command, the same single greater than symbol on through this f1.txt. So let me show it to you what I'm talking about. So now I'm saying like sample data. Okay. So here the current file is having the data test data and test data too. Okay. But now if you try to use a single greater than symbol or the redirection operator on the same file again, then the data would be completely overwritten. Okay. So if I run this and if I do a cat f1.txt, you can see that the complete data would be overwritten here. Okay. So that is the difference between the single greater than symbol and the double greater than symbol. So double greater than symbol is always used to append the data to a given file, whereas a single greater than symbol is used to, I would say, override the data to a given file. Okay. So even though if you like have thousands of lines in a given file, but suddenly you use the single greater than symbol or the redirection operator to redirect the file to the or redirect some data to the file which is already having some thousand lines, then all those thousand lines will be overwritten with the new data that has been added. Okay. So that is the difference here between the single greater than symbol and the double greater than symbol. Okay. So these are generally termed as redirection operators. So here you can add some smaller chunks of data by using this like the echo statement or the redirection operator. But otherwise, there is a VI editor using which you can add a huge amount of data into a given file. Okay, so we'll talk about the VI editor in the next session. For now, we'll continue with some other examples here. So cat is a command, as you have seen that cat is a command to open a file in the read-only mode and then view the data there. Okay. So here to view, like let's say if you want to push the data to another file here, okay, cat f2.txt. So when I do an enter, cat single greater symbol f2.txt, when I do an enter, it is allowing us to enter some information here. Okay. So I'll say like test data 1, then test data 2, test data 3. So in this way, like you can keep on entering the data into the given file. Okay, but the way to exit out of this command here is Control C. Okay, so Control C in Linux is generally termed as user interrupt. So whenever you want to abruptly come out of a process, right, or come out of an execution, So the simple command that we have for at our discretion is Control C, which will send a user interrupt to a given command stating that I want to exit out of this particular execution that is going on. So in that case, it will send a kill signal. So kill is nothing but killing the given process. Okay. So it will send a interrupt to the existing process to stop the process, and the process will be stopped. So here you have added three lines: test data one, test data two, and test data three. So let's say if you want even the test data three to be in your file, then you press enter and then do a control C. But if you want to just have test data one and test data two, then you can simply do a control C at the third line itself. Okay. So how many of the lines that you want to have in your file, just type in everything and then press enter again to come to the new line, and there you press control C. So control C is generally identified through this, the cap symbol followed by C there. Okay. So now if I do a cat f2.txt here, you can see you have the test data 1, test data 2, and test data 3. So these are the three files that you have here. Okay. Clear about it, guys? About the ways in which we can add the data?
Hi. So this file we are creating, right? f2.txt.
Yes.
So under this we have created test data 1, test data 2, test data 3. What exactly are these? Like in general words or something?
Yeah, these are just simple text data that we are adding. That's all.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
So there's just a simple word that I'm giving here. So it can be like the information can be pages of information you can add, or it can be few files, or anything like few words also can be added. So
Okay, like
like
how in a Word document we write something,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Okay.
right, exactly. It's pretty much similar to that. Okay. So here I'm like I don't have any proper information to type in, so that's the reason I'm just using these word test data or sample data. But otherwise, if I had some meaningful data to write it, then I can write any information in this given file.
But
Okay.
what is the use of this doing it?
Because like I understand like you might be thinking that it's just a Word document that you're editing, right? So in Linux, right, if you're trying to create a shell script, okay, or if you're trying to write a script, it's again the word doc the combination of characters and words that you'd be using, right? So to edit such a data you need these kind of editors, or I would say like the text editors that you have, right? You would be using these itself to add data to your given file. So here basically the purpose is that so there are basically like you can create a file, you can create a directory. So in a file as well, if you are writing a C program, okay, so in that in that scenario you need a editor like this to add a C program instruction. You add some instruction, let's say printf that particular print the string, and then you write some for loop and all that. So there in those scenarios these commands will only come into picture. Okay. So let's say there's some a C program that's there in your let's say in your Linux machine. And how do you view it? You can view it using the scat command. Okay. So there is no other instruction which using which you can view the data that's there in a given file. Okay. So you have to use cat, or there are some more commands like head, more, and tail. So I'll explain that about them later on. But for now, like as per our session is going in, cat is a command using which you can view data in a given file. So the purpose of these commands is to edit text in a given file. Okay. So even in Windows as well, right? You use Notepad or Notepad plus plus, okay, or you may be using MS Word. So there you're not doing an execution, okay? You're just dealing with text for your like presentations or any content that you're reading through, right? Or some information that you're saving it onto the Notepad. But here, if you're trying to write some programs or any text information, you use these commands to like create files and do that. So here you don't have the utility like Notepad or Notepad++. Okay. You have to use these commands. That's the alternate for Notepad or Notepad++ is these utilities. Okay, so in Windows, you just type in like you find a file, Word file, you just type that window will pop up and you will see the data. But here it's not that. You need to run a command to view the data. So that's the difference between both of like between Windows and what you're doing in Linux. Okay. So you'll understand slowly, like as in when you proceed with the sessions, right? You'll understand like how these commands would be used. Okay. So, fine, guys. So, I'll wrap up the session here today. Okay. So, we'll continue this tomorrow. Right. So, do give me,
Sorry, Ram.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have
Also,
some questions,
you.
please.
yeah. Go ahead one by one, please. Krishna, you can go ahead. Jude, you can
Yeah.
follow up.
So if there is a hyphen in the front of the line, then it is a text file. So you have said D and L. What does it means?
D is a directory. A directory is
Okay.
similar to folder in your Windows, and L
Okay.
is a soft link. So, soft link is basically a shortcut that you have in your Windows.
Sorry, shortcut.
Yeah, in Windows you create a shortcut, right? You remember,
Okay.
like, let's say if you have some folder in D drive, then if you want to have a shortcut on a desktop, you just type in, you click, do a right click, and then you create a shortcut onto your desktop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same thing is available in Linux in the form of software.
Okay.
And this hyphen is not always a text file. It can be a C program. It can be some Python script. It doesn't mean like hyphen in the start doesn't mean it should be a text file. It's just a file.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Okay. Yeah, Jude, please go ahead.
So I think I have a series of questions here. Number one, did you say you'll email me the document that has all the commands, what you
Right,
just
yes.
showed us? All right.
Right,
So
yes.
secondly, I need some assistance with I tried to download the mobile X term, and
Uh-huh.
that I run into some difficulties. I don't know. Maybe when everybody dropped off, you can help me. And then I had a question about the text file.
Sure, sure. Can you just give me 5 minutes? I'll be right back.
Sure.
Guys, like others can drop off. We can have a session tomorrow. We'll continue the session tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, but where can we find the recorded session?
I'll send it
Good
to you. I
question.
have your email addresses. I'll send everyone with the recorded sessions.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Jude, can you hang on to the session for a few minutes? I'll be
Sure.
back.
Sure. Yeah, I'm here.